Hi guys, welcome to my weekly vlog of learning to day trade penny stocks. In today's video, I'm going to share some of the trades that I took, including a 26% gain on a 2000% move, which led to a lot of FOMO and of course the emotional struggles that come with that. So I'm going to share what I did to rein myself in, to stop myself overtrading and revenge trading. So let's go to the charts. So we'll start with the biggest runner this week, which was UGRO, massive move on the market. And we'll start with the daily chart over here. So this is its day one. It's a low float stock. It's moved on high volume, volume's down here, and it's gone from around $2-ish up to highs of $7.16 on its day one. And then on day two, it's had a drop in volume. You can see the volume's gone down here, but it's continued to stay above the previous day's close. So I'm looking to trade it on day three for a kind of third day surge type of setup. So you've got this big day one, a drop off in volume. Normally I like to see a bit of a pullback, but there's definitely ways this can work where it's still holding above day one's close. And then you can get shorts get squeezed that are sized in on this day. They can't get out because there's a drop in volume on day two. Some volume comes in on day three and they will get squeezed. So let's go to the intraday chart on the 1 minute time frame. So this is its day one. Big run here, push after hours, and then pre-market the next day on its day two. It's holding, has a little dip, but it's consolidating above the previous day's close, which is around this area here. So day two is holding that level very nicely. So that's looking like a nice base where it's going to want to make a day three move. So I'm trading this pre-market on its day three here, and I'm risking off the previous day's low, so which is around 627, something like that. So I've got in at a lovely price of 646, such a nice entry, and then it starts to grind up pre-market. Actually has quite a big move. Let's zoom in here. So this is perfect. I'm selling some here, I think around 846. And then I'm waiting for market open for the rest of my shares because I believe this is going to go to 10. It's looking like it wants to push further because of the day two is holding above day one close. It's also in a price range where it's come from $2. It's gone up to $7. And usually when that happens, they can have a pullback to sort of $5 and then move on to 10. That's kind of a pattern that seems to work historically. So I'm also thinking about that. So market opens and I'm not selling any here. I'm trying to be very patient and wait for the move that I think it can do. However, I did set a stop for some of my shares around about 764. So bear in mind, it's gone to highs of like 878. I don't know why I put my stop there. I must have just picked a random level clearly. Maybe this low here. That's probably what I was thinking. And yeah, I don't know if that was the right thing to do or not. This could easily pull back more before going, but I didn't want to, like, if it failed, I didn't want to like lose on it. So I just put a random stop in and it had this big red candle down and took out the large majority of my shares. Even I'd sold some here, but the rest of what I had, a lot of it was gone. So that was just pretty frustrating really. I still had some shares on it. So let it play out, and then obviously it pushed on here. And my initial plan, as I said, was this is going to go to 10. But because I didn't have that many shares left, I just kind of changed my mind on the plan and ended up selling somewhere, I can't remember exactly, it might have been 930s, it might have been a bit lower, but over 9, but not above 950. So, and then I took the 26% gain on that, and then we can see it went up to highs of On that day, 1660s, crazy. And then actually, sorry, before the market closed, it was up at like $34. So as you can imagine, this 26% that I took felt like an absolute loss, because obviously I'm not going to be holding it up to here. There's no way. But my plan was at least to get to kind of $10 on the majority of my shares and take at least a 40% gain as opposed to a 26% gain. So I did not take the meat of the move on this trade. And then after hours it continued. So this stock was actually up over 2,000%, which is massive. So you'd think you'd be pleased to catch some of it, but actually I wasn't. I was just like, I've messed this up big time. So I had a lot of FOMO on this, and when this happens, it can get sympathy plays, so you can get other stocks that are similar moving in the same way. So my eyes shifted now to, I can't trade this, this is gone. What else is there out there that's looking similar? So what I was looking for was other micro float stocks, a very tiny float. And also, if we look on the daily chart of the UGRO, it had a reverse split in February. So I'm looking for stocks that have had a recent reverse split that are micro float. If they're in the same industry, great, but they're not necessarily. So things are getting a bit hectic. I'm looking at the scan, something is going to be moving. I tried something which was quite a liquid and I lost 7% on it. Wasn't a good trade. And then I also tried this stock EEIQ. This was a micro float. As you can see on the daily chart, it had a recent reverse split in February, just like UGRO. And I'm waiting for signs. It popped up on my scan, actually, that it moved more than 5% in the last 5 minutes. So I'm looking at it on here. Here is where I'm looking at it. So as you can see, I caught this very early. You can see some volume started to come in. If we look at the volume down here, volume started to come in and it started to move and it fit the profile. So I got in around, I can't actually remember. It was either 270, maybe 282. Maybe 282. And my plan was, this is going to go. But I wasn't factoring in, this is very close to market close now. So it's a bit of an unknown if this is going to spike. It could spike after hours. It might not. It might just fail and it will be very illiquid after hours. It might go the next day. So I held it into after hours. Didn't see much going on. And I changed my mind and I just cut the trade because realistically, I don't know where I can risk off here safely. It's after hours. It's not liquid. There's no real risk level. Yeah, I could pick this random level here. I think I did, and then I cut. And then it dipped way below that. It went down to 242. So, I wouldn't have actually kept that because it would have broken my risk too much. However, we go on to market open the next day. This absolutely ripped from 270s up to like 890s, so a massive move. I was on the money on this one, but obviously it didn't work out, so I could have woken up and taken like 185% gain or something, which I've never done before. But yeah, so doing that, missing out on the 2,000% move on UGRO, or not taking the a bigger portion than I was hoping for, then taking that 7% loss on the other sympathy stock that I traded, and then missing out on this one. As you can imagine, this morning I was having a lot of FOMO. I was just really frustrated, and yeah, just like everything just felt like I just got it wrong and I've missed out on so much money, blah, blah, blah. And had to rein myself in, and I didn't, even though I knew that there was going to be other sympathy plays moving this day, not just EEIQ. There was going to be other stocks that started to do the same thing. I felt I wasn't in the right mental space to be looking at them because I thought I'm going to do something stupid and I don't want to be frantically looking for the next stock and taking random entries and exits. So I just kind of decided not to look at my scan. I also had a nice conversation with my brother this morning, and he's a day trader. He's not day trading at the moment, but he's got a lot of experience in it, and it did help me to see perspective of, missing out on one or two big trades is not going to make me successful in this. It's about just having a system that I can repeat consistently, that works. So it really did put it in perspective of, what, I've missed out on some big gains here, but whatever, that's not the be all and end all. So that calmed me down a bit as well. And I decided, as I said, I'm not going to look at my scan for other sympathy plays. I'm just going to focus on a setup that I know well and that I have a clear plan for and that I'm confident on. So I chose to trade something that wasn't in relation to the UGRO move. It was already set up that I had on my radar separate to that, which was AZTR, which was this on the daily chart here. So it's had this run here on big volume. It's had a pullback. It's tried to bounce on this day. It couldn't. And I still think there's room for a big bounce because it did so much volume here, over 500 mil in volume. It's been a nice drop off in volume and it hasn't bounced yet. So I decided I was going to, let's go on to the 5-minute chart. We can see here, I had this big run here, pullback, bit of a bounce there, just about 30% bounce. But it's still holding this level, this base here. Got this area of support, this area of support. That was previously resistance, which is now becoming support. Support, this whole base here. So I decided I wanted to trade this, and I'd already traded it a couple days back and I got stopped out, but it's still holding the thesis. So I took a re-entry on this day. So this is the day that EEIQ popped off. So obviously emotions were a bit abnormal, but I took the entry here around 0.23, I don't know, 0.2360, something like that. On this day, I actually traded it pre-market. I traded it pre-market here. Tried to kind of have a bounce. It didn't, but I just kept to my risk and it didn't break it. And I decided that it still cannot break down. Surely this is going to bounce. So I decided to swing it, held it after hours. Pre-market the next day, it's still holding that base. And I decided to add to it. And it did break my risk slightly. However, I decided I'm not going to cut there because if it breaks this base, then I'm going to cut. But I believe that this was just a little bit of a fake out where it's going to slightly break the previous day's low and reclaim. And ordinarily, I would have sized into this, but because of the FOMO of UGRO and EEIQ and taking a 7% loss on that other one I tried, I wasn't putting my full plan into place with this one. I got scared trading, so I started off not putting full size on it. And then when I reflected, I said, you know what? If I hadn't had FOMO on those other stocks, I would be putting full size on this one. So I decided, actually, I'm going to do that. I'm going to stick to my plan. I'm not going to let the other trades interfere with this. And I'm going to load up, which I did, put almost full size. I didn't think it warranted full size, but pretty decent size for me. And also, I just accepted that if I take a loss on this, then it is what it is. I've got to stick to my plan and go with what I think can work. So on market open, it's kind of horrible movement here, so close to my risk. I had a stop loss on here, so if it broke that level, I was going to be out of the trade. And then it started to have this big surge upwards, and I'm thinking, great, this is working. This is going to absolutely rip. I'm thinking this could go to it should go to 30, 32, 33, somewhere like that. Probably would have been all out at sort of 31, to be honest. So yeah, I had this level here, which it went to. I didn't sell any there. It wasn't a PT of mine. And then the kind of volume didn't continue to come in. It kind of dropped off. So I kind of stuck to my plan a bit, kind of thought it might come back down and then go back up. As time went on, I felt this is looking weird and this is not the usual action you would expect. So I kind of wanted to sell some at 26, but as it went here, it wasn't giving me a price of 26. So I got a bit stubborn with, I want at least 26 cents on this, and I didn't get it. And then I decided to put a stop loss at this area, and then I got stopped out. And I took a 4% gain, which, it's not the move I wanted, but a gain is a gain. And then it still held that risk level, so I still could have kept it. And then it had this perk up. And this might continue next week, I don't know, but this is such a weird one. It's behaving very peculiar, very strangely. So I won't be trading that again. I don't think that's it for me. So yeah, closed the week green. But as I said, a lot of frustration, reined myself in, stripped back, went back to the setup that I know, and tried not to let the other trades impact how I traded this. So it's inevitable that I'm going to miss big trades multiple times in my career and also miss the meat of the move. Some of the things that I did this week was I put things in perspective. One trade isn't going to make or break me. And I also stepped away from the screen in the sense that I stopped looking at trades within that sector and I just focused on a different setup that I knew and that I was comfortable with, because I knew I wasn't going to be trading with a level head, and that's where mistakes can happen. So cheers for watching and catch you next Sunday.